What's your go-to, tried, tested?
Go true.
Go true. You gotta cut and start again, sorry. What's your go-to breakfast? What is the tried, tested, and true solution that allows you to kickstart your day and feel awesome? For me, it's a giant latte and a bowl of homemade granola, and I like to make it in big batches. Years ago, I was introduced to this recipe by a good friend who owns the best bakery in Old Montreal called Olive and Gourmando, and she very kindly shared her recipe with me, and here it is, or a version thereof. So today we're going to use oats, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, flax seeds, slivered almonds, whole almonds, unsweetened coconut, and honey, maple syrup, salt, cinnamon, and vanilla, the magic ingredient. Okay, so we're going to start with the oats. Now with the oats, I like to use a large flake oat, preferably organic. Right now, I'm using whatever's in the pantry because this is the kind of days we're having. This is just make it work with what you've got. So these are large flake oats. You can use 8 to 10 cups of oats. Basically, here's one thing I know about this recipe. No matter how much I make, it's never enough because my mom loves it, my whole family loves it, friends love it. So I'm now on to, that's basically 12 cups of oats. The measurements aren't exactly precise. I think 12 cups of oats is perfect to start. Then we can use, I just use packages. So instead of worrying about measuring and not enough or too much, here's a package of slivered almonds, done. A package of desiccated coconut. Most of these measures will end up being a cup or 2 cups. You can't really go wrong. If you really love something, put more of it in. If you don't love it, don't use it. Whole flaxseed, about a cup. Amazing raw organic almonds. Now these whole almonds, just, here's a package. In they go. Sunflower seeds, about, how much was that, Sarah? Maybe a cup? Sound good? Some organic sesame seeds. There we go. And in case you're wondering, why are you doing this in a big pasta pot instead of in a bowl? Well, because I've learned that you end up with so many ingredients that when you go to stir it, if you're just using a bowl, it's going to go everywhere. So I like to mix it all up in a giant pasta pot or stock pot. Get this stuff out of the way. So what do I want to use here? I want a spatula. Where are my spatulas? My spatula, my favorite spatula, it's in the dishwasher. Just gonna do a quick cleanup here. Bear with me. Please stand by. I told you this was not a prepared recipe. Okay, now we're gonna do a quick stir on all of these yummy ingredients. Oh my goodness, it's looking good. Where are the pumpkin seeds? I forgot the pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. I love them roasted on a salad. They are delicious in this granola. I can just get the package open. I'm gonna ration these. I'm gonna save some for roasting on a salad for dinner tonight. Because I don't know about the grocery stores in your area, but there are some empty shelves at our grocery store these days. So I am not taking anything for granted. Okay, now for the good stuff. You need a cup of honey. That's easy for us because we make our own honey here at Starlight Farm. And we also need a cup of maple syrup. This is the good stuff, you guys. There is no sugar, there is no oil in this recipe whatsoever. But there is lots and lots of good stuff. So 1 cup of maple syrup, 1 cup of honey. Here's the really interesting trick I learned from my friend Di, who gave me this recipe. You put in a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons? 2 tablespoons of vanilla, pure vanilla extract. And you know what that does? You pour it into the honey and maple syrup mix, and the vanilla liquefies the honey. Isn't that cool? What does that mean? It means that if the honey is sticky, once you mix it with the vanilla, it thins it right out, and this allows you to mix it in with all the other ingredients. Cool? Like, look at this. You can see it happening. Okay, so we mix this together, and then you add, I like to mix all of the wet ingredients into a measuring cup. We add a teaspoon of salt. Heaping teaspoon is fine. Mix that in, and then Fiona loves cinnamon, and I think our cinnamon is almost about to run out. By the time I've made this granola, pretty sure, oh my gosh, there's not much cinnamon. You want to use a couple of tablespoons of cinnamon. If you love cinnamon like we love cinnamon, use lots of it. If you don't, leave it out. You really can't go wrong. However, it's going to be a light cinnamon recipe today, because that is the end of that. I wasn't planning on making this, so I didn't go to the grocery store to stock up. But there it is. We want to dissolve the salt. We want to make sure that that good vanilla is all well mixed in and the cinnamon is evenly distributed. And then we're going to go like this. We are going to dump this ooey gooey loveliness into our dried mixture. Like this. Stir it up. Now, my friend Di, who gave me this recipe, told me that you had to get in there and mix it with your hands. If you want to do that, you go right ahead. But right now, nobody wants anybody touching their food. So we're going to use just a spatula, which I always find works perfectly. Let's talk about cooking this. You want to cook it at 275 degrees. This is a really low, slow oven. I, as you may know, I can be prone to being impatient. I like things done quickly. However, you cannot rush this recipe. So you want to cook it at 275 for an hour. You cook it for 30 minutes, and then you give it a stir and cook it for another 30 minutes. And if after that amount of time, it still doesn't look brown and crispy enough to you, keep cooking it for another 10 minutes or so. I like to line my baking sheets with parchment paper because then nothing sticks. And every single yummy bite is edible. Okay, when you're sure that it's well stirred, dump half of it onto one sheet. And I like to create kind of mountains like this so that you have as much surface area as possible being roasted. Yum. See? So fast I managed to make that in less than 10 minutes. Now, okay, see, all spread out. I'm gonna pop it in the oven at 275 for half an hour. I'm gonna switch the sheets at the halfway point, so the top one goes to the bottom and the bottom one goes to the top. I'm gonna stir it around. When it comes out, you need to let it cool fully and completely before putting it into jars so it doesn't get soggy. I always only make this recipe on a dry day. Never make this on a rainy day because nobody wants to eat soggy granola. And if you want later, you can add raisins, you can add currants, you could add dried cranberries. Personally, I like it neat. Okay, there we go. Granola. Stay healthy, everybody, and hit that little red subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.